So there's this old adage of like, if you can't be used, then you're useless, right? Like the older generations used to say that. So I completely agree with you, mistaken that it's just human nature to use each other. It's our purpose. We're meant to be in community and go off of each other, right? I think furthermore to what you were saying, it's like the evolution of survival. In the older generation, they needed to be married in order to survive. They needed to be married in order to have a family. They needed to be in community in order to feel safe, right? That need was bigger than the individual. And I think because we've gotten to a place where theoretically, right, we obviously know what the results of it are, but in theory, we don't need each other to the same degree to survive or to thrive in life, that has allowed people more opportunity to be even more selfish and overuse people. Don't think there's anything wrong with using somebody. It gives us purpose, it gives us utility. But when you over exhaust what you're taking from somebody and you're not replenishing, it becomes really destructive.
Oh, so when I first read the statement, I thought, is that a man complaining about being a provider? Because if we're supposed to be the providers, we need somebody to use what we have to provide. So essentially, yes, women are users if the men are the providers. But I feel like Inaz and Mistaken made a good point with overusing and over expecting, which is why I believe men should set the boundary and the standard for any relationship and any encounter, so that when they recognize that they're being overused, they have to let them go. We got to be willing to say, you know what? I see what kind of game you're playing, and I'm not going to play that game. But I just think by the nature of us that if we're going to say we're the providers, we gotta have something to provide and somebody that's willing to use what we're providing. It's just pretty simple to me.
Have most men y'all dated had a problem saying no to you? Out of curiosity.
I
I
don't
would
know.
say, because I've only had like three, what I would say three real relationships. And I would say the one who told me no is the one
Married.
I ended up marrying.
Figured.
Boundaries and
I,
standards.
Yeah,
look, I've
the one had boundaries. Not to say that I didn't appreciate the other two, because I think I love the fact that they would do anything for me. My husband would too, though. But I think the difference is, one, a lack of maturity of not being able to understand the fact that that was a good thing back then, right? But now as an adult, I understand is a need for balance, and I know I can get pretty much whatever I want from my husband, but I also know that there is a limit, that he's not afraid of the word no at all. You know what I'm
so I
saying?
think yeah. I think that a lot of men today believe that the way to please a woman is to say yes and give her everything she wants, not realizing that that will backfire. And they believe that the men who are successful with women are saying yes to everything, and that's why they're successful. And that's absolutely not what's happening. But I think they because I seen a post that was saying, you want your woman to leave you, tell her no for a week straight, and she'll just get up and leave. And I'm like, that's not realistic. I mean, you shouldn't just be saying no to somebody just to say no. But if there's something you really want to say no about, you just need to say no and not feel afraid that she's gonna leave because you're saying no. Like they, I think social media has painted relationships and interactions with women with such a broad brush that men are now tacking on um, belief that this is actual reality and adding to it because you have to sensationalize things in this era to make them really like go viral. And the things we all see are the most sensational things. The problem with that is now people believe the most sensational stories are actual reality, and it keeps putting us back in this situation. Did you see that video where the guy was like, the math is if your woman is attractive, if she walk outside, 10 guys holler at her. So if 10 guys holler at her a day in a year, that's 3,650 guys. And if she only says yes to 10% of them, she still has sex with 365 dudes. So these women all out here is going, they all thoughts.
Mhm.
I'm like, that's not really what's happening. But a lot of men believe that's exactly what's happening in this day and age.
Mhm. I know.
Yeah, I think that came from the Big Bang Theory. Sheldon was talking about Penny, and he basically did the math of how to calculate how many people she's been with, and it was just a show. But I mean, I think that I don't think people think as much as we think. Online, people sound like they think all the time. They don't be doing all this thinking. They ain't calculating how many people she been with or how many people he been with. It literally just going on day to day, not thinking about nothing. And just when something finally shows up that they feel like is a problem, then they'll talk about it. But people ain't trying to calculate, use math. Nah, people ain't doing that.
Wonder if we polled the chat how many men think that number is accurate. And I think you might be surprised at the response.
You said how many? It was like 300 something?
So that they having sex with 10% of the men and they get hollered at about, yeah, so around three. Like I've been in groups like on panels where men have pretty much agreed with that without citing that reference, and they're using that as when they be like all these women is ran through. They're referencing something like that.
Nah, there's no way the average woman has 300 bodies.
At all.
I might
Sloan
give them.
58 say it's what's happening. If somebody in the chat right now say it's what's happening.
I just walk into what?
Oh.
No, it has happened, but it's not happening, meaning in a large number. Like
The only
women
group
be
No,
having
I agree.
five to 20 is
porn
I think is the average.
I agree with you. I'm saying that men now believe that that's what's occurring and are addressing women from that lens.
Oh, wait a minute. How did we get here? Am I missing something? I had to walk away for it to go. I heard something. So what?
I was talking about that the amount of men that think that women are sleeping with a large amount of women nowadays based off of a sensationalized concept that they saw online. It's a real thing right now. Like they believe it. Like I've seen men
I
like
think
argue this
that
point back and forth.
I think that what has happened is we have taken a group of girls who we would consider easy, and we've given them a platform, and we keep giving them the platform, and it seems like that's all women, and it's really just the easy women who would have been easy no matter what. Like they're just easy women, you know. And they're like the girls gone wild, as we would call them when we, back in the day. Now they have like a microphone, and people keep inviting them to these shows, and they keep talking. And that's not most women. It's just not.